everyone, and welcome to the Jeff Willis Show. Today with me, Mark Fox. Now, Mark Fox is a true Renaissance man, and we're going to discuss a little bit what that really means in a little while. He's a versatile entrepreneur, scientist, and former Space Shuttle Chief Engineer. I thought he was from NASA, but it's a totally different beast, he told me. NASA doesn't do anything. He did a lot of things. His diverse background includes experience as a hot air balloonist. I do love a hot air balloon. I went on one in France a couple of years ago. Nothing like a magic carpet ride, isn't it? He's been an airplane builder. Interested to see what happened there. And he's now showcasing his passion for innovation and pushing boundary. He's the creator of Vibe, a revolutionary pocket-pulsed electromagnetic field device called PEMF. Essentially, this is designed for effortless integration in your daily life. Unlike conventional PEMF devices, Vibe is incredibly compact and user-friendly, allowing individuals to wear it on a lanyard or keep it in their pocket. This portability makes it a convenient and discreet option for those seeking natural relief from a wide range of ailments. Vibe emits extremely low, safe frequencies, 100,000 times lower than those from a cell phone. And we might talk a little bit about are cell phones dangerous, just for fun, making it safe and general therapy option. The device harnesses the power of resonance frequency therapy to address over 100 common ailments in both humans and pets by offering a drug-free, home-based alternative. Vibe empowers individuals to take control of their well-being and explore the potential of natural healing. I'm very curious, and so I was deciding whether to say yes or no to having Mark on the show. And I checked his background. I said, well, he's an ex-scientist. He must have a certain level of skepticism. And I Googled what his device does, and there is scientific basis for it. So welcome to the show, Mark. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to it.
So, Mark, you went and did your degree, which is in basically Tennessee. Was it Tech College? Is that correct?
Yeah, Tennessee Tech. That's correct.
Okay. So what subject did you study there that took you on the path to becoming a Space Shuttle Chief Engineer? What motivated you to go and do that degree in Tennessee?
Nothing. Nothing in college did. So I was a chemical engineer as my undergraduate. My best friend was a nuclear physicist, and nobody that graduated, that's how old I am. I graduated in 1983, and nobody was hiring anybody in the United States. Nobody, right, at that time. So we were hanging drywall, building condos and stuff for $3.50 an hour. And my dad was in rockets. I never wanted anything to do with rockets. I thought I'd work for DuPont or Dow Chemical or something like that. And, you're in the Florida sun and you're hanging drywall and sweating and making $3.50 an hour. And somebody goes, hey, this company won the space shuttle processing contract. Did you put your resume in for that? I'm like, no. So I handed it to them. They called me and they go, come on in for an interview. And then they hired me right away. So it's like, I'll do this for 6 months because instead of $3.50 an hour, it was $12.14 an hour. So
you're rich.
It was rich. It's almost $100 a day. I didn't know what to do. Right. So I was like, okay. But that's how I got into it. And I, again, didn't think I'd stay there long, but I was like 16 years or something on the space shuttle program. And then I left there, and anyone's old enough to know what a zip drive is. I worked for iOmega for years back when the internet was just starting, like 1996,
Yes, it was
97. And so I launched the e-commerce and internet stuff in the company, and then their call center I managed, and I didn't know what a call center was when I started working there, but they were a company that was growing so fast. They were trying to get some good management people in there to try and fix all the broken processes and systems.
Right. So from there, so how long were you at, basically as a Space Shuttle Chief Engineer? Because you did propulsion rockets or something, is that correct?
We did this. I was the chief engineer on the solid rocket boosters. So the two big white things on the side. So I was there, like I said, 15, 16 years. I went to iOmega after that with zip drives. I've actually owned part of a woman's clothing company, which I think I still do. So just kind of blocking and tackling with basic business stuff. It's all the same. I got interested in this energy technology when my dog got sick. And a veterinarian friend of mine who's very forward thinking, he's like, hey, there's this magic machine that can help with arthritis in her spine. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I believe this stuff. I started looking into it. And, that's 27 years ago. I'm still skeptical, but there's too much data out there. There's 35,000 published papers on it. Anyone go to PubMed or NIH and type in PMF. NASA uses it since the 70s on the space station, and you can't get to Mars without it because of bone density loss.
Wow. Okay.
So it increases bone density. So NASA's been using it for 50 plus years. And a doctor told me last month, he goes, Mark, PMF is not on trial here. If somebody says it is, they're uneducated, uninformed, or they're just being jerks, right? Because there's so much data out there that shows, and there's more every day, more and more published studies, double-blind studies, all kinds of things. So it's, and nothing's 100%, just like a drug isn't, right? But it's got a really ridiculous high success rate for most people.
Yeah, because everyone's different. So sometimes it'll work for some and others, but you're saying it's actually in the 90%.
So with PTSD, we have a 98% success rate, which I don't even believe it, but the data's there, and I've had third-party doctors review it, and it's there. Unfortunately, the lowest I think we have is probably prostate, and that's probably maybe 60% success, but that's better than most drugs. Because trust me, you got 75-year-old cranky men that are pissed off when it doesn't work. And they all have my cell phone. So it's like, told you it wasn't 100%. We give you money back. If it doesn't work for you, send it back. I don't want anyone to have it that didn't work for them. But it's really high success rate, 80, 90% or more for many different conditions and ailments.
Right. So the inspiration came from basically an internal problem you had with your dog getting sick, and then you just gently, or just with gentle curiosity, just kept an eye on it and did some reading about it. Is that right?
Yeah, like I said, what made me most angry was PTSD. I saw the success rate with it before I ever ran my own studies, but it was being held hostage in a clinical environment with expensive machines. And, in the United States, we have 22 military veterans a day commit suicide, 15 medical responders, 5 medical workers, and 2 active duty. So it's 44 people a day. That's not counting any civilians, civilian women that have had bad boyfriends, husbands, miscarriages, trauma, all of that stuff. So it made me mad. And I said, there's got to be a way to design and build some affordable pocket-sized device that can do this, even though I wasn't an electrical engineer. Now, I'm granting myself an electrical engineering degree after this because I started out so naive. It's like, it's just going to be a coil, a little circuit board, and a battery. Well, there's a pile of coils over here in the corner of the room that are now, my wife made me throw away. Things were catching on fire. It wouldn't work. I mean, it was a struggle to get it to, well, it's a huge trade-off, right? Because you want the battery to last pretty long. It's got to put out enough energy. The more energy it puts out, the battery's bigger. It's got to be light enough to wear around your neck or put in your pocket. It only weighs 2.7 ounces. So I get yelled at all the time by customers. I want a 12-hour battery. Well, it's going to look like a football and it's going to weigh 3 pounds. So you can't have one. Right. But it's like, so there's all those trade-offs and stuff with it, but it's PTSD was the biggest thing. Anxiety, if you don't know, is the #1 condition or ailment of all human beings in every culture and country.
Yep.
And so there's a huge success with that. We're running clinical trials right now. I have enough anecdotal data to say it helps with blood sugar, but there's so many Facebook haters and I get attacked by so many people. I'm not making that claim until I have the actual data. And then other things, sleep, back pain, neck pain, Alzheimer's, dementia, a lot of different things. There's a lot of physical and mental things it can help with.
Right. So let's go to the device. So how much does it cost for the device? And can you sell it around the world, or is it basically restricted because of government regulations and bureaucracy?
Interesting you just said that. So it retails at $399 US. I discount it to listeners like a podcast you to $249, whatever that translates to Australian. Now, our government, the FDA, doesn't want this technology to exist because if you don't know that, in the US, 75% of the FDA's budget is paid by the drug companies.
Yep.
The research budget. So it's I'm going to get in trouble talking to you probably because the FDA doesn't want me to have this. They've been trying to shut me down for 6 months. And I'm like,
Wow.
it's why. And they keep changing the way they're attacking me.
Wow.
I'll go and do something. And well, there's pros and cons to being the fastest PMF growing company in the world, which I think I am.
Right.
Even though a small startup is. Now I'm on people's radar screen. I spend a lot of money making noise. So don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. I'm still here, but I got asked 2 years ago in a keynote presentation before I had the vibe. They go, "How would you measure success?" So, when Pfizer assassinates me, and everyone kind of like, I'm kind of joking, kind of not joking, but so there's
Right.
that. As far as shipping it, yes, we ship it worldwide for free.
Yep.
So we have free shipping worldwide. Getting it to Australia, wherever is New Zealand, those areas are actually easier than Canada, which you think would be easy because it's right here. It is not. Canada is like, but we ship worldwide every day
Okay.
for free.
Cool. So you've had how long since you launched? About 6 months, was it?
The Vibe device I launched about 2 years ago, and
Right.
I had a predecessor prior to that, which was a Bluetooth connected device. People are too dumb to do Bluetooth. I had to give up because I was awful. Because if their phone would ring or if they get an audible from their text, right? It's gonna just like if you're listening to music on Bluetooth in your car and your phone rings, the music stops.
It
So
disconnected. Yep.
it disconnects. So this would disconnect, and that was awful. And it didn't have a screen to select stuff. Anyway, it was a great prototype to start with because it allowed me. It was actually a Bluetooth speaker that looked like a music cassette that was a promotional giveaway, and I modified it so I didn't have to. I modified a Bluetooth speaker into this device so I didn't have to pay for all the mold tooling and everything before I could prove the concept worked. So we put thousands of those out there and measured the data, and then we made this device. It's much more user friendly. It's a complete standalone device. Doesn't connect to anything. There is no app to download. You can't program it. No, you can't upgrade it. No, you can't change the battery. You can't do anything. You use it the way it is. You turn it on, literally turn it on. You scroll to the one you want. And you hit play. That's it. And put it landing around your neck or put in your pocket. Or I've now given up telling women not to stick it in their bra anymore because they all do. So I just got to go ahead and put it in your bra. It's fine.
Okay, so is the battery basically rechargeable through USB or something, or?
Yeah, exactly. It's a USB-C rechargeable. So, which the whole standard is going to USB-C. So it's a standard lithium battery that's in there. It lasts about 5 hours.
Yeah, yeah. So they're just trying to stop Apple make money out of making every fucking connector different. Every
Well, it's outlawed in Europe, right? They're moving towards everything's got to be USB-C, which is Apple's going crazy about that because I want to sell 62,000 cables, like you just said, right? And trying to get rid of garbage and trash. It's fun you said that though, but I've had never. We want to go there. The amount of people who've shoved stuff in there that's not a USB-C cable. You know what an RCA cable is? The old red, yellow, and black on the back of your
Oh,
TV.
yeah.
I've had people jam that in there. I'm like, nah, that won't charge it.
So is that the device you're holding in your hand?
Yes, this is it. So it looks like it's about half the size of your phone, original iPod.
Right.
And I did that on purpose for familiarity.
Yep.
So you scroll the one you want and you hit play. And the colors, if you can see it, the colors of the bars that show the frequencies running, I made the colors the same as a Star Trek tricorder from the 60s and 70s. So anyone's old enough would look at it and get some familiarity with bones going, woo, with a medical device. So, and then my wife, you'll like this one. So she goes, if your viewers can't see this part, is they're like, there's an app on your phone that you can measure it and show that it's working, right? But just like Bluetooth, a lot of people struggle with apps. So I built, my wife goes, this is the dumbest invention you have ever come up with in your life. It's a tube with a magnet in it, okay?
Right.
So magnetic field tester. You put it over the coils.
And it's working. Okay.
So you can see and hear it's working. And that's actually saved me because people keep turning the power level down because nobody will watch the damn instructions, right? It's 5 minutes of video instructions. They just go like this. They start clicking, going crazy with it, and they turn the power level down. And like every time they go, mine's broken. I want a new one. I'm like, it ain't broken. Mine's broken. I go, take your tester. Yeah, it didn't move at all. I'm like, okay, your power level is not at 10. It is. No, it's not. Send me a picture. It's at 10. No, it's not. Send me a picture. I'm not stupid. I know it's at 10. Send me a picture. Never mind. Right? Because they finally go look at it and they got it turned down to 0. It's like some of my team members, Gabby and them, are like, just design it so it doesn't even have a power level. And like, the problem is about 3 to 5% of the population can't handle the energy. They're energy
Right.
sensitive. So it's a little too high for them. So you got to have, I don't want to take that chunk out of the market for
Mm.
this product. So there's still power on there, but most people
So,
run it at 10.
okay. So on your website, is it Vibe? What's it? Vibe.com?
No, it's Resona,
Zona Health.
RESONA,
Yeah.
Resona.health.
Health. Okay.
Yeah, no.com.
Yeah.
And what we'll do, Jeff,
Yeah.
is we'll make a landing page. You want to go learn more about it or something. We'll make Resona.health/ whatever you want to call it, the name of your
Mm.
podcast or Jeff or
Yep.
whatever. And then at the end, we'll figure out exactly which one we want to call. But Resona.health/ whatever we come up with.
All right. Cool. So let's go to one thing I'm curious about is, okay, so you tested it, you've gone through many coils, you had explosions years ago because it caught fire, but now it's safe and it's good because you tested it and you've set it out in the market. Um, how'd you go getting it produced? Was that a challenge? Mass produced, as in,
No, I mean, and then people, every time I get that email that says, "Where's this made?" and I know what the argument's going to be, better be made in America. Well, unfortunately, it costs 100 times more to make it in America than it does China. So my
yeah,
answer is it's made the same place that every electronic you have in your home is made. Your
exactly.
TV, your phone, your toaster, it's made in China. Now, the guys I work with have done millions of dollars of development for almost nothing because they were Bluetooth speaker manufacturers, and they saw, quote, a way to get into the medical world because they don't have anything
Yeah.
like this. So
Yep.
I talked to the engineer 5 times a day, every day,
Mm.
right? Going back and forth. So these guys, like when I'll have an investor talk, like, well, can't you make it cheap? I go, I don't want to go anywhere else because there's nuances to where we are today, right?
Mm.
Change, do this, tweak this. And we've got not all the bugs because run into something once in a while, right? But we we have like, I just did the math last night. We have like 0.1% failure rate, and that's from people beating the crap out of it or sweating all over it. So you'll like this. We now have these vent holes are to let it cool a little bit because it can get to like 105 Fahrenheit. It's a little warm. It's putting out a lot of energy. So there's a barrier on the inside here where air can go through, but water cannot. So
Right.
that's the latest version to quit people sweating on it or dropping it in toilets,
Right.
right? They're going to keep dropping it in the toilet, but now it won't break it. That's a fair way to say it.
So on your website, do you have reviews from people that have been using it and how long? It depends on the condition where they actually notice a change or a difference, an improvement.
Yeah, what I decided to do a while ago was I don't even want a written testimonial anymore because everyone thinks I wrote it and I'm lying, right? So I only want video testimonials. I have about 80 of them now, and they're not easy to get because
Oh,
every testimonial I have 50 people that help, but nobody wants to be on camera and they're freaked out, right? So yeah, we have 80 testimonials or so online of people using it and what it's done for them. I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question? I forgot. Or was that it?
just more testimony. Yeah, just testimonials. How the other question was actually, it depends. I'm sure it depends on the condition, whether it's PTSD, which has got 98%, according to your data and research. On the other hand, what sort of time frame will people notice a difference? And there's going to be a range. So they
Sure.
buy it.
It depends on the person, it depends on the condition stuff,
Yep.
but the guidelines are use it 3 to 4 times a week minimum for 30 days. If you don't see something after that, you're either running the wrong protocol, you misdiagnosed yourself, or it's just not going to work for you for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, that comes from my guidance from the clinical environment because that's what the doctors are doing. You're going to come for 12 to 16 visits. If we can't help you by then, we got to do something else. Now, the problem is because most people that'll come to this, find this technology, have long-term chronic physical pain, mental pain, or both. Once they find relief, Jeff, they don't listen to me. They run it 8 times a day, and they don't want to do an experiment on themselves and go, hey, if I cut back to 3 times a week, is it still going to hurt? They just say, screw it. And they run 8 times a day. And it's like, you don't need to do it that much, but people don't listen to me. They can't hurt themselves. The only thing that can happen is if you use it too much, a small amount of people will feel tired, because my theory is your body's got to use the energy to repair itself. So it's like, when somebody says, I'm feeling tired, blah, 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 and I'm like, what are you running? They give me a list of 27 things. I'm like, timeout. Pick the top 1 or 2 and just run that 3 to 4 times a week. Keep a log. If you got biomarkers, depends which the ailment condition is. Measure yourself, see if you're getting better. There's a really weird phenomena with this, and it's with any drug or medication or treatment, is people forget how bad they felt a month ago.
Yes.
And so I've talked to psychiatrists and doctors, and I have a friend since kindergarten who's a chiropractor here in town. He's like, Mark, every new patient, I videotape them because they come in on a walker. Next time they come in on a cane, third time they have a lap dog. And they'll go, I could always do this with my arm. They're like, you couldn't even move your arm a month ago. So that happens, and everyone says, yeah, it happens with any intervention. So, and I've had a few customers will go, yeah, I don't think it helped me. And they send it in, and then a month later they go, can I buy it again? Because it was helping me and I forgot. So here's what I tell people on that. Get biomarkers. So like a Fitbit, this is one I recommend because it's $79. Fitbit 3, Inspire, measure your heart rate variability, measure your amount of sleep you're getting. Here's the best litmus test, whether it's helping you. Ask your family and friends.
Yep.
Are you being less of an asshole? You never gone to this place? Serious. Do your kids want to hang out with you now? You haven't gone to John's house for a picnic in 3 years, and now you've been twice in 6 months. So people see that change. With ADHD, for example, in school with kids, the teacher will call the parents and go, you changed Johnny's drugs, didn't you? What's he on now because it's helping?
Right.
And I go, we didn't change his drugs. So there's all that the litmus test of ask the people around you if you're more outgoing, feeling better, and you're not whining as much. You're not complaining as much. My back's killing me. Not as much anymore, right? So that's where I kind of lean towards, is actually biomarkers like Fitbit and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other stuff you can measure to prove it to yourself, but they're more invasive, right? I mean,
so are husbands buying it for their wives to stop them whining? I'm joking. Wait.
No, I know, but it's a weird thing there, because it's wives buying it for the husbands, and the husbands are too damn stubborn to use it.
Yeah,
so it's like that's what happens all the time. I get some return, not all the time. I get returns like, my husband won't even take it out of the package, right? It's like, okay. So number one reason it won't work is you don't use it.
Yeah.
Right. This is my favorite one. So this Facebook hater on Facebook obviously is like, this device sucks. I'm going to send it back. It's doing nothing for my prostate. Blah, blah. I'm like, Tom, I don't know why you posted that, because it's unfair. You bought it yesterday and it's not even delivered. It hadn't even been delivered to his house yet. He's just on there bitching. So I don't know if that was a competitor or complaining or what, but it's like, calm down a little bit. And then, it's a, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a Garmin watch, which measures HRV, heartbeat, stress levels. I also have an Aura ring. So I've got 2 marker devices actually. And as they say with these sort of devices, is that if you don't measure it, it didn't happen. In other words, you go for a bike ride, you go for a walk. One of the first things I check in the morning is I don't scroll social media, but I do go and check my sleep for the night. And as I've got older, my sleep is struggling. So I'm using essentially like taking some magnesium, which supposedly helps with sleep. I take melatonin occasionally. So obviously it's not so much chronic issues. It's sort of like fine tuning you. So actually it's general well-being becomes greater. Is that correct as well?
Yes. And the study we did on PTSD is, since the FDA doesn't want me saying PTSD anymore, is a third party people that looked at all the data. We're now just calling it that. So the results are general wellness based on the questions that were answered. Are you getting better sleep? Are you less irritable? Blah, blah, blah. So it's going through those things, which I'm allowed to say. So I have a study online that they can go look at all that, but it helps with all those things. The Aura Ring guys are going to hate me, but I'm going to say it anyway. The reason I don't recommend the Aura Rings is because I worked with them for months to do a study. And then they told me if I bought 1,000 of them, they'd give me a nickel and a pat on the back or something. I'm like, nah, they're like $500. So that's why I went to the Inspire 3, because it's $80 and people can afford it. And I couldn't afford to use the Aura Ring on the studies.
Right. Yeah.
Because the investors, my investors are those fish behind you. Okay. It's me. I have a bunch of money to do tons and tons of studies and stuff because it's all coming out of my wife's and I's retirement. You know, I don't have any investors in this stuff. So I'm spending a lot more than I'm making, but it's the most satisfying job I've actually ever had. You got I have two ladies, one's doing shipping and email, the other's answering phones. I warned them, you better be prepared for the emotional part of this, because you're gonna have people call you and complain about being kidnapped. Their boyfriend had them on heroin. True stories, broken ribs, people abused. You can imagine the PTSD and trauma, the amount of stuff people have been through. I was just talking to somebody the other day. I didn't even know anything hardly about Lyme disease, and we won't go too deep on what we're doing with that. But that is the most awful thing I've ever heard of a human having. I'd much rather have cancer or anything else and just die. These people are suffering so bad, and they don't have a solution for it.
Yeah.
We think we have part of the solution.
Yep.
We think we got data that shows we can kill the Lyme bacteria, but that little bastard spits poison when you kill him. So it makes people, that's his defense mechanism.
Wow.
There's a medical word for it that I'll pronounce wrong, so I'm not even going to try and say it. But it spits poison out, so then it makes people sick. So we're trying to alternate between run that, then run toxicity to get the poison out of your system. But no, if you sat on some of these Zoom calls with Facebook groups on Lyme disease, you'll cry. It's awful listening to these people. So anyway, you got to prepare some of your people that are going to get in this space. You're going to help a bunch of people, but you're going to listen to. And then the other thing, we have one for ED. I wish 500 people didn't have my cell phone, because I get calls all the time from 75-year-old guys that want to tell me about their sex life and how it's greater now and all this. I'm like, thanks for the testimonial, but you're blowing up my phone. No, it's bad.
So it helps with older men and testosterone. Is that what you're saying as well?
It helps with erectile dysfunction. Yes, it's one of the 100+ things you mentioned before that's on there. All right. Doesn't work for everybody, and I'm afraid to even say this because it may come out racist. Black men in their 75s, it's doing miracles for it, because that's the most, or I get most phone calls from them. Maybe they're bolder than the white guys to call up and tell me about it. That's like, I got to sleep tonight. I don't want to hear any more of this.
Yeah, too much information.
TMI.
Okay, so one thing I'm curious about, you mentioned at the beginning that the FDA is funded, 2/3 of the funding is provided by pharmaceutical companies. Is that correct?
70% of their research funding is funded by the medical companies. So when you go, how is that possible? That seems impossible and unethical and illegal.
Well, it's a conflict of interest. End of story.
It's a huge conflict of interest. So how did it happen? Here's how it happened. The drug companies bitching at the FDA that it took way too long to get a new drug approved. So they're yelling at them, and the FDA goes, we don't have enough manpower. So they basically said, we'll give you money to buy manpower. That's how it happened.
Yeah. Suddenly they're on the hook, and it's conflict of interest. End of story.
You know, I don't know if you've seen who knows what'll happen in our country. As you know, we've lost our minds in politics over here. But
we watch around the world with anything from bemusement to dismay. Let me put it that way.
That's putting lightly how I have to watch it. Yeah, Robert Kennedy tweeted this 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, blah, 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 blah. He lists a whole bunch of stuff, and anything else that big pharma's trying to patent. If you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. One, preserve your records. Two, pack your bags. So who knows what's going to happen with that? But he's like, I'm getting rid of complete departments in the FDA. So it's super frustrating because we're help. I mean, I'm calling it a general wellness device. I'm using the guidelines. I'm doing everything legal. And you're allowed to say, I can't say treat, diagnose, or cure anything, but I'm allowed as a general wellness device to say helps living well with that condition. So, for example, type D diabetes, can't treat, diagnose, cure. But if your blood sugar goes from 250 to 100 and you're shooting 10 units of insulin a day instead of 80, you're saving more money and you're not sticking yourself with a needle as much. So you're living better.
Yeah,
same
yeah.
with sleep, same with back pain, same with anything else. But the FDA has now told me I'm not allowed to say that. They're going to take me out, but I'm just to say it, Jeff. This is how bad it's gotten. I'm not allowed to have a YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Facebook. They don't want any social presence at all. And I'm like, that's First Amendment rights. I mean, testimonials of people saying what their experience is. And so I'm in round 12 with them because I know they're going to make me shut the thing down probably, but we'll see. Hopefully not, but it's, yeah, super frustrating because you help a ton of people and especially people with side effects of the drugs and stuff and can't take what medications they need.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know about in your, but here, 6 o'clock news here, every commercial is, hey, it helps with so-and-so, and you're going to have anal bleeding, death.
I cannot watch American free-to-air TV.
it's
End of
insane.
story. It's like,
go.
was this media company bought by a pharmaceutical company? It's just insane. There's obviously so much money. Yeah.
The answer is yes. Because ABC, CBS, NBC, all the news networks here, there is not a single commercial that is not drug related at 6 o'clock news. Zero every night. Anyway, now I have some SUVs that just showed up the front door, so let's move on.
No.
I said, I don't hear them knocking yet, but they're on the way. I've had multiple guys tell me they're listening to every phone call you make, every email they're reading. My God, Jesus.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Enough of slamming the FDA. We'll see what happens.
Okay, thanks. Mark, it's been absolutely fascinating. And I'm going to ask you one question. What brings you the most joy, and what would you do every day if you had all the money in the world?
I don't want to do anything every day. So I don't want to play golf every day. I don't want to fly balloons. And I like helping people. And if this ever makes any money, which not yet, I may never, if I quit spending money and we make a little money, I may never quit doing this because the new technology. I said earlier, energy can be delivered with electrical current, PEMF, light, sound, vibration. I think I said that.
Yep.
Here's my dream. And I would have this already if somebody at Philips, the light company, would call me. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to say, Alexa, run dementia in the living room. And you just simply run the protocol through the lights.
Right.
Think how powerful that would be. Mm-hmm. I already wrote an app, but I can't get around that because when you turn on a light switch, the light bulb doesn't come on. It does a slow ramp, so it doesn't shock your eyes. Slow meaning a few hundred milliseconds, right? But that would be the coolest thing in the world, is to give people therapy that they don't even know they're getting it, and just makes them feel better. Another one, again, most phones have a Qi coil inside of it for charging. So you're putting power in there to charge it. If somebody would help me, cell phone world, and I could modify the firmware or the software with an app, so I could run these frequencies out that coil that already exists, you could turn every phone into a, quote, therapy device. Wow. With a simple app. Those kind of things, it's an indirect way of answering questions. I'm thinking about that stuff all the time. What's another way you can do it? I got chairs and mats and lights. MIT, if you don't know, everyone go Google this. They reversed Alzheimer's and reduced plaque in the brain with 40 hertz flickering light. And they found it by accident with rats in a box. And I told them, this has been around for 30 years. 40 hertz is a magic frequency, but here's a whole lot of other ones. And so it's interesting because it's the one time in my life I feel good about this. I got to school at MIT, guy that has 2 PhDs and is an MD. He's like, he goes, what's your frequencies? I go, 1 to 1,000 hertz. He goes, well, that can't work because you can't see beyond 60 hertz. That's true. But you didn't tape the rat's eyes open. So how the hell did they get energy inside their body? He goes, we've never figured that out. So I was telling a friend of mine who's a top radiologist here, and she goes, Mark, in 2001, they discovered your skin has light receptors just like your eye. So I went back to this MIT guy, I go, hey. And he goes, that isn't true. I go, I shoved all this stuff in his face. I go, read all this research, right? So just fun. My friends go, man, you're going to live forever. And I go, I just want to see what happens next. So that's a long answer to what gets me up in the morning and stuff. I don't want to play golf every day. I want to fly my balloon every day. I don't want to work every day. I want to mix things up and keep learning stuff, and it's fun.
Keep it interesting and fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
One last question. You mentioned using the device 8 times a day. What do you mean by using? Is so you turn your phone, put in your pocket for 10 minutes to 8 times a day, or 6, whatever you want to do?
No, the protocols are all different in length. The average is going to be about 40 minutes. The shortest is 30 minutes. The longest PTSD is 2.5 hours. So you just put it in your pocket and play it, and you got to go from beginning to end because it's frequency pairs that are changing every 1 to 4 minutes. So if you think about the frequency A is where is it, B is what's wrong with it, sort of. And so it's going, the frequency pairs are like a chord on a guitar, and the protocols are songs. So it's got to go through its progression for like PTSD is in every part of your body. This is freaky, Jeff. We can now measure PTSD in your cells. You can physically see it. So you can, I mean, it's very invasive to get in there to do that, but that is a new discovery. So you got to do the whole thing. Stuff like asthma, we'll see a lot of people will see a difference in 5 minutes.
So do you need to do a different setting for each one of those conditions?
It's a different protocol for every condition. Yes.
Okay, right. All right. Okay. So if I've got general, like I'm not sleeping very well, for example, is that a condition?
Well, I get asked all the time, which one do I run for sleep? I go, sleep.
Oh, so okay.
It says sleep right there. You're on that one.
Oh, so you've got a menu with each condition.
Yeah. It's a menu alphabetical with each condition. There's 59 on there. 5 of them are brainwave protocols, which can be repurposed for 70 more things, which we don't have time to talk about. But yeah, they're alphabetical order. Run to the one you want, hit play. Sleep is one I use a lot for me personally. I've my whole life had horrible nightmares, people chasing me, killing me, trying to shoot me. When I run sleep, I get Halle Berry. Just not getting attacked. I've said that story several times. It's like it's pleasant. I get more REM. I sleep longer and I'm more relaxed and stuff. So that's one of my favorite ones for me personally.
Very cool. I think that sounds good. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure and absolutely intriguing. And I think I'll just have to test one, I think. So
let's give your listeners, what do you want to call it? Rezona.health/what? What do you want to call it?
You just call it Jeff, I suppose.
Jeff. That's what we'll do. Friends of Jeff, we'll just call it Rezona.health/Jeff.
Yep.
And that gives them a big discount. They can go learn more. They can go down the rabbit hole as deep as they want, looking at thousands of studies, and then all that data is there.
So basically, there's nothing to lose. So except maybe a few dollars, and if it doesn't work, you sometimes help out. But anyway, I'm fascinated.
Just to be clear on that, we ship worldwide for free, and there's a money back guarantee in 30 days after you get it. After it gets through your customs, if it doesn't work for you, send it back. I don't want anyone to ever have one if it didn't help them.
Oh, exactly. Thank you, Mark. It's been insightful and fun conversation, and great to see you putting your passion, expertise, and energy into, literally energy, into helping people. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.